Alright, this is for DFTG 1305, and this is going to show you how to draw a title block and border in your in AutoCAD. Now this is for the one of the assignments for week 1 for packet 1. So we've already gone through an introduction of what AutoCAD looks like, the different functionalities, different places, layout space, model space, etc. So this will be to show you how to complete one of your assignments. I'm not going to complete it completely, but I'll get you started in it and give you a good idea how to go about it. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started in that. So here we have our open page that we normally start at. I'm not going to review any of this because this was already shown to you in previous lectures. And I'm just going to go ahead and open a new drawing. And as always, we go ahead and set our units first, which is UNITS. And I'm going to set these, and we go ahead and go to decimal. And I'm going to go ahead and set this to 2 places on that. And it'll be decimal inches that I'll be working in this situation. I'll hit OK. And then I will go ahead and hit D, Enter for my dimension styles. I'll go ahead and set those. These are the 2 things you always want to set. Actually, 2 of the 3 things you always want to set before you get started. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm on standard, and then I'm going to go ahead and modify that standard setting. And right now I'm going to go symbols and arrows, and I'll go ahead and set this at 0.25, quarter of an inch high. Again, we always set our text height and our arrowhead height to the same, approximately the same. And now I'll go to my primary units, and I'll set those to the same thing, decimal, and I'm going to go ahead and set that at 2 places on that, and that should take care of the dimension styles on that. I'll hit OK and close, and I should be all set to start drawing. So I'm going to draw a title block and border, but the first thing I'm going to do is draw the sheet of paper that I'm for some control. So we use 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So L, Enter, or the line command, either one. And I'm going to go ahead and left click, and I'm going to go ahead and turn ortho on, which is F8. And now you can see the blue box there asking for a distance. So I'm going to go ahead and put 11.0, which stands for 11 inches in decimal inches. And then I'm going to go with ortho still on, I'll go to 8.5. And then I'll go back over 11. And I'll just close this out with snaps on. Spacebar at the end of the command. Now I have an 8.5 by 11. Let's see how the dimensions work out on this. There's my 11. Hit the spacebar to repeat it. Now you will not be putting dimensions on this, but you will. For a check, you can either use the dimensions, which will stay, or you can use the measure tool, which is up here, which we haven't covered yet. But there's a measure tool here, and we can measure distance. So I'm just hovering over this line right now. It shows 11 on that side, 8.5 there, and space bar to go out of the command, and I'm ready to go on that. Alright, so the next thing I need is my title block and my border. Well, I know my border is a 1/4 inch high, so I'm going to go L, Enter, go back into the line command. Snaps are on, ortho is on. I'm just going to push this up. I didn't click, just push it up, and I'm going to type in 0.25. It's 1/4 inch high. Now we really can't see anything happening, but there is a line on top of the line right down here. And now I know this is a 1/4 inch over, and I know my border is a 1/4 inch off the edge of the paper. So I'll type in 0.25 for the other border. And I got the border started. And I can come back up here now. And there's a couple of different ways you can do the math on that, or you can do intersection. I don't have the intersection snap turned on, so I'll go down here and turn my snap settings on to I usually keep midpoint, and perpendicular I keep on, and insertion intersection, so that should be good to go. And there's my perpendicular snap. And now I'll do the same thing, go out of the command, L, Enter for the space bar to go back into the command. And now I'm going to left click there, and I'm going to just push the cursor down and go 0.25 over. And now I'm going to take it over this way, And like I said, you can do the math on this if you want, or you can just, and this main thrust of this exercise is to drawing lines and controlling lines by distances. Again, 0.25 from the corner, and come down with the snaps on. And again, I'm going to do one more here to complete the border. Left click on there and push up, and 0.25 on that. And then I'm going to close this out right here at that intersection point and spacebar at the end of the command. Now, I have a 1/4 inch border all the way around, but I have some trash in there. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can select the line there, and I can hit delete on that. And that cleans that one up. But if we look at some of the other borders, it's not quite that easy. You select the line. If we hit delete, it takes away that entire border. So Control Z will bring it back, undo. And there are a couple ways. Instead of doing a trim, we can select the line, left click on the grip, and just push it back with snaps on and take it back to that point. Now, the other way we can do is TR is a trim command. And the first thing it says, select the object, and I'll cover this in lecture a little more closely. But the first thing is select the object. What I do is I just come out here a little ways, left click, and I let go. I'm sorry. Yeah. And I ran into the first problem here on 2021. If you notice, it's a little bit different looking here, 2020. I didn't have an option to download 2020. It just took me right to 2021. So this one is nicely working a little bit differently. Actually, I like this a lot better. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim these pieces out. And that was TR enter for the trim command. All right. So now we have our 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, which is the outside line, and then our inside line is our border, 1/4 inch border, and now I'm going to draw my title block. So L enter again, and this time I'm going to start from the border, not from the edge of paper, but from the border. Left click and line command, pushing it up, and this time I type 1.0 for 1 inch high. And now I'm going to take this over and do the intersection here, and I have my border there. I believe the first box is 4 inches, I believe it is. So I'm going to left click here and just push it and go 4.0. And I'm still in the line command, so what I'm going to do is just intersect here, and then I have my first box on my title block starting. Now there is a line a 1/2 inch above, so since I have this line right here, there's one solid line, I can do L enter and like that, L enter, and I can snap to the midpoint, which is that triangle, the green triangle. Left click on that with ortho still on, come back over with perpendicular snaps and click there, and then I have the start of my title block. So you have a couple more boxes that you have to create, again, just by using the line by distance. You can create those. I'm not going to finish that up, but that's how to get started on that. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is put text in. TEXT is the command for text. And I want you to use this command for a while until we get a little further along. TEXT, enter, and it says specify a start point. So I'm going to go ahead and specify a point right here, just arbitrarily right there. And then the command line says specify the height. From your notes, it should say 0.125 on the height. And then it says rotation angle, which I don't want to rotate it. It says it's 0, so 0 enter. And then I can start typing. And the first word is project name, colon. Now, don't hit escape because it will erase. Just click out of it and then hit escape. And then take your text, and I'm going to turn ortho off, F8 to turn ortho off. Snaps are still on, and let's see how we can get this in. So this area that I'm putting it in, I want to maintain a border about the same, the distance from here to here as from the top of the P to there. So all my text and all the boxes will remain that type of distance apart away from the title block. Now while I have this still selected, I just dropped it there, and I'm going to hit Control-C to copy it, Control-V to paste it, and I'll go ahead and drop this next piece of text, which is this is not the correct text, the name of that box. But I can go ahead and do that, and then I can just hit the space bar, and I can drop this text all day long into different places. Now, with that said, you can see how it's trying to snap to that. I don't want it to snap down there. With that said, after I'm done placing all my text and got everything done, I can go back and edit this very easily. Double click on the inside of this, and I can start typing this in, and this will be project number. Project number. Click out of it. I'm still in the edit mode, and up here is, I believe it's drawn by. Space, and make sure you put the colon in there. And you can go ahead and type your name in there because you want to fill this title block out completely when you're done. I believe down here it was scale. I'm sorry, units. Colon. Click out of it, and again click on there, and this was scale here. Colon. And again, you'll fill all these out, and then you'll complete the title block over here on this side. So that's a quick demo on how to create a sheet and a title block and border in model space. All right. And that will conclude this portion of it. I just wanted to show you that to get you going on it, and that's for your assignment in packet, for one of the assignments in packet number 1. Any questions, of course, just shoot me an email, and we'll go from there. Thanks for listening.